What's up, guys? So we're just a few days away from the GGG live stream where they're going to go over the new league changes, the new league mechanics, all of that sort of thing. The days leading up to the league, just like they have done in past leagues, they've been releasing little snippets or little teasers about what's upcoming. Most of them have been little, quality of life changes, some bug fixes, that sort of thing, which is pretty standard. Usually it's kind of small stuff, and then the big announcement comes on the live stream. Well, there's a couple quality of life changes, or at least that's what GGG is calling them, that are anything but quality of life upgrades. In fact, I would say they're probably nerfs, or they're not probably, they are nerfs. So we're going to go into what those are and go through some of the different changes. So let's jump into it. So I had been loosely following along with the upcoming changes to the new league. For the most part, they looked like small quality of life changes or just bug fixes. I'm not usually the kind of person that likes to take little snacks on an upcoming game, movie, or show. I just prefer to take a big bite when the actual trailer comes out, or in most cases, just play the game or watch the show or movie when it comes out. Because I hadn't really been following the upcoming changes to the new league, I was confused when I saw people on Reddit and the PoE forums losing their minds talking about unbinding left click and new skill gems. So I spent a good 10 minutes scrolling through Reddit and the forums trying to find the link for the original GGG post or the video that mentioned the nerf. I realized I could have just gone to the announcements page on the PoE forums and just saw all the updates, but I was at work and I was on my phone, so I just kind of gave up until I got home. Even when I got home and looked at the announcements page, I still had a hard time finding the post on what everyone was griping about. Scanning the posts, everything looked pretty positive. The change to the Pantheon, making it so where you only had to do it once per league, awesome. Being able to control shift click and put all the stacks of an item into the trade window, another great quality of life upgrade. The ability to just hold down fusings or jewelers to get to the max sockets or links, another awesome update. Everything looked like good, positive things, so I decided to just watch each video one by one, and when I found the video that everyone was complaining about, I understood the reason for the complaints. I'll go ahead and play the video now.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. We're adding 2 new skill gems in 324, Automation, and Call to Arms. These skill gems can be toggled on to auto-cast linked instant skills the moment they're off cooldown. We've removed the capacity to bind any instant skill to left click as a result. This not only allows you to retain the same behavior as before, but it will now auto-cast the skills while you are stationary. Players who use a gamepad will appreciate this one.
So the issue that I had, and I think a lot of other players had with this particular announcement, is the way that it was presented. This was presented as a quality of life upgrade, when in reality, this is just a huge nerf to a lot of people. And the fact that GGG was removing the ability to bind instant skills to left mouse click was just kind of snuck in there instead of that being the focus of the announcement. Very sneaky, GGG. Let's address the obvious issues first. The first is you're now going to have a spare gem slot just to do something that already exists in the game. On top of this, this is going to make the skill or spell cost more mana and have a longer cooldown. The 2 issues that jump out to me with this change are necromancers and miners. 74% of necromancer players take bone barrier passive, and I would say most, if not all of them, bind this skill to the left mouse click, as you basically want this up constantly off cooldown. This skill, unless GGG changes something with the automation skill gem, cannot be linked to automation, as it's not a skill or spell gem. Most miner players will also bind their detonate mine skill to the left mouse click, because in most cases you want to be moving away from the enemies as you detonate the mines. And then there's the example of guard skills. I have always put my guard skills on left mouse click, and I think most PC players probably do the same thing. And this got me thinking, why on earth would GGG make this change? Why add 2 new skill gems to do something that's already natively within the game? And the only explanation that makes any sense to me is to balance the game for console players or PC players that play with a controller. Now, I can't say for certain that this is why GGG did this, but it's the only explanation that makes any sense to me. Because why would you add 2 new skill gems to do something that already exists in the game? The only way that this doesn't exist in the game is if you're a console player. And looking at a lot of these quality of life upgrades through this lens, to me it seems like a lot of these changes were made with console players in mind. The auto walk over breach hands, the jewelers and fusings change, the moving all of the stacks of a currency into the trade window with one click. These are all things that are definitely quality of life upgrades for PC players, but I would imagine that most of these things were probably a pain in the ass on console. Now, I'm all for leveling the playing field and trying to make console players have the same experience as PC players, but why nerf PC players just to bring console players on par? And it's not even a buff for console players, it's just making them even with PC players. All this really does is allow console players to automate their skills. It still brings all the negatives with it, the increased cost, the increased cooldown, and the need to find an open socket. Now, I'm not a programmer, but I feel like there had to have been an easier, less convoluted way to do this. And I'm pretty regularly on the PoE subreddit and the PoE forums, and I've never seen a console player complain about these things or even bring them up. This leads me to believe that either these things weren't really much of an issue for console players, or it was an issue, but the console player base is so small compared to the PC player base that those posts would rarely or ever get seen. Either way, this is not a reason to nerf PC players' experience just to bring console players on par. It's hard to know how much of the player base plays on console and how much plays on PC. Everyone I know plays on PC, and I've only ever met a handful of people that play on console. I understand that that's anecdotal data, but I feel like a lot more people play on PC than on console, but I could be wrong. It's impossible to know the breakdown of the players as GGG doesn't publish this information, and the Steam player count can't be relied upon because a lot of players, myself included, use the actual PoE launcher opposed to playing the game through Steam. What are your guys' thoughts? Are any of you guys console players? If so, I want to hear from you. Are these upcoming changes things that you've griped about in the past? Are these changes going to positively impact you? Let me know in the comment section. PC players, how do you feel about these changes? Are you going to boycott the league like I've seen a few Redditors say? Or are you going to adapt and overcome? Let me know in the comment section. On a side note, if you are a PC player and you want to keep the functionality of the bind to left mouse click once these changes go live, there is a way for you to do this. What you can do is you can take whatever skill that you would usually bind to left mouse click and bind it to one of your numpad keys, provided you have a numpad on your keyboard. If you don't have a numpad, you're kind of out of luck. But what you'll do is you'll bind that key to your numpad, hold down the key, and then turn off your numlock. You'll have to do this each time you enter a new instance, but what this will do is this will basically keep recurring the spell or skill once it's off cooldown. That is, of course, unless GGG decides to remove this or make this not work. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it does really help with the YouTube algorithm. I make bi-weekly content about various games, gaming news, and gaming reviews. Until next time, have a great day/night.